everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. according to my phone. We have confirmed quorum. I think we've got enough here yet. And I will read the acknowledgement of the First Nations. The Mayor and Council wish to acknowledge the town of Fort Smith is located within Treaty 8 territory. Treaty 8 territory also encompasses the traditional homelands of Salt River First Nation, Smith Landing First Nation, and the Indigenous Métis people of Fort Smith. These nations have maintained stewardship of their sacred lands throughout the generations. We honor your knowledge, teachings, traditions in the land. We are mindful that colonization has not been kind. We respectively recognize our generational histories and commit to strive for unity in a spirit of truth and reconciliation. So moving on from there, we need to approve the agenda as presented. Do I have a mover?
I'll move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
I'll second. There we go. Now, Carl. You have no discussion or changes required?
I'd like to request an amendment, please. I'd like to add an item under 7DII for a request for a special meeting.
Okay. Any other discussion or additions? None heard. Call for a vote. Are we in support of the agenda? Is that what do we call it?
I'm okay with the amendment.
Oh, sorry, yeah, forgot about that. You okay with the amendment? All in favor? Okay, delegations. I don't see our RSVP fellow here yet. He may be running late, but we do have Kristen and Jones. Good to see you, Kristen.
Good to see you, Mike.
Remember watching you grow up in the community. Come up here and sit front and center. Before you start, I just want to confirm the delegations have 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
That's the standard?
Yes.
So then just monitor your time. So about 10 minutes is what we usually get for delegations.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Fantastic. I'll run a timer here, but I won't make it beep beep. I'll just for you.
The floor is yours.
Amazing. Well,
Okay.
I just want to say hi everyone. Congratulations. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to be here. And I actually watched your live campaigns and your community questioning, and I'm like, this is so exciting. So I'm really excited to see you guys in council. Again, congratulations. Super glad to be back. I literally just moved back to Fort Smith a week ago, so things have been a little bit crazy. But today I requested a meeting in front of the council to discuss something very important. I don't know if some of you guys might have heard, my company, Seagrass Healing Center Incorporated, had conducted a community engagement tour within the South Lake region, right at the tail end of March. So it was a little bit crazy, but it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And so I do have some workbooks here just for your own review of what the tour was all about.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you,
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Carl. Do you mind copies? Thank you. I'm just so glad that I've had enough. Yeah, so just a very quick overview. The presentation, I know we have less than 10 minutes, but most of you know who I am. My name is Christy Jones. I am a new counselor registered with the ACCT. I hold the RTCC designation as well, and created Seagrass Healing Center Incorporated in the last couple of years. We are a federally incorporated company running as and operating as a social enterprise. What does that mean? Social enterprise. The bottom line for social enterprises is essentially for the community, has a social purpose, and of course being northern based, the land. Super, super important with the vision and mission that you'll see in the workbook really speaks to the value-based system that I hold as a business owner, but also as a counselor and a BT resident. Super important, I won't go into it because it does take time, and so some of the services that we do offer is one-on-one virtual-based counseling services. I am a graduate of Rose Wellness College. I think some of you guys may have heard of them before. Back in school, guys, if you could believe it, for more specialized training in addictions. Absolutely love my education for sure. And so I am really wanting to take this to like the most expansive place I can, utilizing this platform and this company. And so continuing on with the services, we have the emotional support services, which is a really awesome practice that you see a lot in the communities, where there's any sort of trauma communications, talking to a residential school and that kind of thing. It's kind of now a best practice to have a counselor on site in case someone was to get triggered emotionally. Also love psycho ed workshops. I'm a huge advocate. Knowledge is power. I feel like a big part of my mission is one to destigmatize mental health and addictions by helping to normalize the conversation around that. And it's working. I can see a shift in the communities. Also to help my clients and the communities that I work with to, one, become informed about their mental health so they can make informed decisions about their health and their family's health as well. Really, really important. Because a lot of what stigma is based upon, in my opinion, is misinformation and hearsay. And so if we can work together in collaboration and helping to, one, educate our communities and also resource them with tools that are evidence-based, but also based and founded in Indigenous spiritual practices. So in sum, that's a little bit of my jam and who it is that I am. Yes, so how to squeeze all of this? This is like a 2-hour workshop in like 10 minutes. I love the challenge though. It's definitely really exciting. So with the community engagement tour, really this project has been my baby for over 7 years. I've done so much background research on this that I never knew if this year was going to be the year that we were going to be talking about this. The development of an inpatient treatment facility in the Northwest Territories. I know our former government had made it very explicitly known that they are not in the business of creating an inpatient treatment center in the North. They have only recently, in the last couple of years, had actually admitted that we are in a mental health crisis. I've been saying it for years. We all know. We've experienced it firsthand. And so with that statement from the former health minister, Julie Green, I really think it helped to shift the mindset of our new elected government, who is, from what I can gather, a little bit more open-minded to the conversation around having an inpatient treatment center in Northwest Territories, which is exciting. And hearing all of your guys' campaigns and stuff, I'm like, yes, I'm really excited as well for the change, and there's a desire for change, but it also requires a lot of work. I know for a fact, because I'm exhausted, I cannot do this by myself. And so today I wanted to just give you a really high-level version of what it is that I'm doing, the long-term vision of creating this inpatient treatment facility here in Fort Smith. Regional scale. It doesn't need to be this fancy $75 million facility. We don't even have the population in the NWT to support something like that. But if you look around the Northwest Territories, in all of the regions, everyone, all the First Nations are doing incredible work on the land, healing camps, treatment programs, Reindeer Station in Beaufort Delta. It's very memorable and very inspirational. And so with this project and this company, it's my intention, excuse me, to do my part. For too long, I've sat on the sidelines watching my friends and family pass. And although it's very devastating as a community member to have lost so many people to mental health and addictions, it became sort of the fuel to my fire. And it helped me to sustain myself long term, long nights, continuing on with the research, saying, is this year going to be the year? Is this year going to be the year? And here we are today. And so having the community engagement tour was just an initial sort of introduction to the South Slave region of like, look guys, I'm here, I exist. This is the vision. I would love, to have an open door policy for potential collaboration and partnerships in the future. And so, a lot of groundwork has already been covered. The financial strategy is being secured. And right now, at this point in the game, I'm just looking to, one, practice my due diligence and letting you know who I am, my intention, what I represent, and what this company is all about. And also to offer an open door policy again for future conversations on how we can work together collaboratively to support our community. So with this, the really high level version, please look through the workbook, lots of good information. I just really wanted to highlight something very important here that I found. And so it's interesting that in my research, I had only found one number in 2020 that was on the Open Contracts NWT website of how much money our government had been spending to sending our NWT residents down south for treatment. That was the last time I found a recorded contract and a number. And it was with this number of $4.6 million that I had based this entire business plan and financial strategy for this company and for developing the infusion treatment facility here in Smith. I found it really interesting that was the last year. It was 5 years ago. When I was in Fort Res, there was a social worker who's just amazing. I heard so many great stories. She mentioned that she's someone who actually refers clients to go down south. And she said the government is spending way more than $4.6 million today. And I know they do have a partnership, an agreement with the federal government to help support the mental health and addictions crisis in the north, which is great. They just did a grand opening for an aftercare house, a 5-bed house in Yellowknife, which is great. But I mean, that's just the beginning of what we actually need. I'm grateful that we have something, but we need a lot more than that. Yeah. They're also developing.
Didn't know it was going to be that loud.
Oh yeah, is that our 10 minutes?
That's my 10 minutes.
Okay. Do you mind if I just wrap up really fast?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, and so a lot of great initiatives are happening here across the north. And my introduction here was really just to plant a seed. I will follow up with a formal request, of course, in a letter for Mayor Ferguson and council. But I'm really hoping that the town of Fort Smith, the Sweetgrass Healing Center will be able to collaborate together in applying to the DNWT Addictions Recovery Fund to help support some of the suicide crisis interventions that's needed here in the community, more specifically around addictions. More to be continued, but I will definitely plant that seed now. I know the health minister was actually the person who recommended that I reach out to an NGO or a municipal government and make that formal request of what that could look like. This could be the beginning of something really beautiful. And we could feel better about ourselves at the end of the day knowing that we're doing something about it. That's the show.
Does anybody have any questions? Do we do questions of the delegation? Any questions for the delegation?
I always have questions.
I know.
So if everything works out and things get rolling and whatever, how many counselors, how many people will be employed by your business?
A minimum of 3 counselors, not including myself. But there will be a minimum of 15 people that are going to be hired. I know, just to add in on that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the jail here was recently closed down, right? Yeah, so I'm so sorry that happened. I know Fort Smith really advocated for that to be reinstated and at the end of the day, right? So potentially there could be potential opportunities for retraining and building upon those who are working here formerly.
And I just had another question about your target, clientele. All adults?
They will have to be 18 and above, yes. And I actually know someone in Nunavut right now who's doing something very similar, but for youth, a youth-based treatment center as well. So, yeah. But
Looking for anything that would add to our youth counseling opportunities, so it doesn't have to be inpatient. But
Absolutely.
that's a dire need
Yes.
from my perspective, so that could be future. Thank you very much for presenting.
Thank you,
Any
Matthew.
other questions?
I know it's early days, but do you have an idea for like a facility or a size of building that you need, or
Yes.
what's your vision?
Yes, great question. So the initial idea was to go and purchase a property out in Bell Rock Estates. I know we have lots of land out there, it's private, we would be disturbing folks in the area, and there's potential for construction as well out there. And so that was the idea, just to take a residential lot or property, building, and then converting it and rezoning it to something of a commercial space to run. Yeah. 5-6 bedroom house, we can have 2 beds per room, building up and off from there. I am gonna have a formal conversation with the Legislative Assembly to see if they do have any buildings, because I know we have like so many buildings in the community that could be like,
You're an MPGO right now,
yeah, like
Probably get
repurposed,
it.
right? It's just, there's so much potential, it's just having and finding the right people and having those conversations.
I have a question, if I'm not allowed to ask this, Chair, but how are you linked, or are you linked with the formal health care systems that we have, the hospital? Like, I mean, is this a separate beast? Are they working together? I just need to understand that.
Yes, so really good question. We are running and operating completely as a private project. However, conversations will definitely be needed to have with the NWT HSSA departments for sure. One of the things that I value as an individual and as a business owner is being able to be independent financially and not solely reliant on the GNWT for everything. We can see what happened with Master JK, and they were completely 100% GNWT funded, and that was sort of their downfall. And so the way that our strategic plan is formulated is that we are running as a private enterprise. However, in light of being in partnership with the GNWT, it's really important for us. But it is our sole, leverage, yeah.
Any other questions from council? Let's say, good. Well, President, thank you very much.
Oh, merci.
Good presentation. Great, yes, it was, and it's great to see you again. It's been a few years, so it's, welcome back. Welcome back home.
Can I get one of these for Patty?
Yes, I will definitely.
And if you got a spare one, Dana would probably like when our mayor, when she's back.
Sure, yeah, of course. I will grab you
I was
guys
gonna give her
some
mine, but
cards.
if I can hang on to mine to read it, I'll give you a spare one. Thank you. Do that for Dana. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, those cards.
And we still haven't seen our, hopefully it's going well for our RCP delegation tonight. So moving along, we'll move to the approval of the minutes section. So do I have a mover for the regular meeting of council 325?
I'll move that the minutes from the regular meeting 0325 on March 18th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
I'll second it.
Any concerns, discussions? All in favor? Bonnie, are you in favor? I'll make sure you weren't missed. Again, can I have a mover for the special meeting SP 0125?
I move that the minutes from the special meeting SP 0125 on March 26, 2025 be adopted as presented.
I'll second.
Carl, any discussion or concerns? None heard. I'll ask, all in favor? All in favor, passed. Okay. Business arising from the minutes. Minutes we just approved, I guess we're good. There is declaration of financial interest. Nobody has financial interest. We're all clear. Okay. Section 7, we'll move on to council business. Can I have a mover for the committee meeting of April 1st?
I'll move that the Protective Services Standing Committee meeting minutes from April 1st, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any concerns or discussion? Nothing heard, all in favor? Okay. Briefing note, town-owned residential lots, public sale. We have a mover for that.
I'll move that council directs administration to proceed with the sale of 3 town-owned lots. Number 1, lot 415, plan 207, 68 Pine Crescent. Number 2, lot 1367, plan 788, 57 Caribou Crescent. And number 3, lot 646, plan 319, 27 Wolfen Crane Crescent.
Carl, seconder for that?
I'll second.
Do we, sorry,
Yep.
do we have a question about that?
I was just about to say, is there any concerns about that?
I have a question.
Take it away, Councillor Pate.
Okay, so in today's meeting, we had a discussion about the process for the sale, and I'm just wondering if we could have clarification just on that process. It was kind of brought up that there's concerns about fairness of kind of how the sale happens versus like whether these lots would be auctioned off.
For, just before I ask that, you'll respond, do you want to be clarified, because other people weren't at that.
Right,
meeting
right.
today. What meeting are you talking about?
So, yeah, we had the first meeting of the Housing Accelerator Fund committee, and during the discussion, there was just talk about trying to support development in town and also supporting it in a fair and balanced way. And so it was brought up, recognizing that these lots were up for sale. There's a question about process, and so one of the attendees at the meeting was asking about could these be put up as an auction so that everybody has a chance to bid on them, or I'm just asking for clarification on process so we can make sure it's fair.
Take it away, SAO.
So following that meeting, I pulled their land administration bylaw up, and there is some confusion in the wording, because it does say it has to be posted publicly for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it says there is a bidding process. This is within the verbiage of the actual bylaw. But there's no, it also refers to an application. So the clarity wasn't there. So I actually pulled together my director of corporate services and protective services and said, gentlemen, I pick your brains a bit on this one. They don't recall a case where there's ever been 2 people bidding on the same one. And the only time there was done auctions really would be when the new lots were developed, when they'd have the lottery system. So my plan is to follow up with that, and I've actually reached out to our legal that deals with our lands administration and real estate administration, and asked them just give me some clarity on that bylaw, understanding that we will be following that bylaw now, but that's one of the first ones, obviously that's a priority under the HAP project to be updated by June probably. So depending on the timing, we can address that or amend it if we need more clarity within it. But I will follow back when I know more.
To follow up on that, just wondering if recognizing that we might update the bylaw for the actual the process for selling these things, would it be appropriate to hold off selling them till, for a couple months, right, if it means that it's done in the updated format?
I'd like to get the clarity, maybe the clarity's there and we're just not reading it right. I'm not sure if there's gonna be a big change between amending that aspect of it. I guess ultimately it's council's decision if you wanna say we wanna delay this till we have clarity on that, or if you could just ask me to make sure I have full clarity before we move forward, which is what I was going to do.
That seems reasonable.
Okay.
Councillor Kirschak, did you have?
Does the town have the ability, whether it goes to a bidding process or an auction process, to set a minimum value for the lot?
Yeah, that would be under our finance administration bylaw.
So if it doesn't reach a certain threshold, it's a
Yeah.
no-sell. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Councillor Cox?
I think Al kind of said the same thing I was thinking, but just, my understanding was the town would just figure out what the assessed values would be for the sale value. And I think as long as, whether it's an official auction or at least some time for people to give an expression of interest, so that if there are more than one party interested, then we have then if that happens, then we have to figure out a way to be fair and say,
Sale?
Two parts to that one. One, it does reference a procedure. We just haven't figured out if there's a policy somewhere that has a procedure. It says following the town's stated procedure. And so whether or not we develop that procedure before we put it out, we say, we have these things. If there's more than one, it will come to a draw or what have you. And also, there is within the financial administration a requirement that it has to be on at least a cost recovery basis for pricing. So not only would the assessed value, it would be also the value of any funding that has been put into those properties. So it would have to be on a recoverable basis, at the very least. So as for the pricing, there's a few factors to consider before the price is set.
Any other comments, concerns, observations?
question.
Go ahead.
So should we, because as this reads right now, that's just telling administration to go ahead and just proceed with the sale. Do we want to amend this? Do we get clarification on the process before it goes?
Again, sale?
I think the conversation that what I just said was that with the understanding that we would be sure we're fully clear before we proceed with that. And that was what the conversation was today, is that I would seek clarity from legal on what this process would be if there was more than one bid on the same lot. Just to make sure we fully understand that and that we state that within the actual, when we put them up for sale, that we have that process very clearly outlined. So we'll make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's before we proceed with this.
So no changes proposed, I hear. So all in favor as the motion is moved? Thank you very much. Can I have a mover for the Corporate Service Standing Committee? You go first.
I move that minutes from the Corporate Service Standing Committee meeting on April 1st, 2025 be adopted as presented.
Seconder? Councillor Kubra? Haven't heard you today, that's good. Any discussions or concerns now? And I see, Councillor Kubra, what would you like, sir?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Minutes were nice. I was a bit disappointed in that the minutes did not include a very wholesome discussion that council had regarding actually the next two items on our agenda, which is funding from the GNWT for water and sewer, community plan, CPI and stuff like that, where it would have been nice for the minutes to reflect that there are significant issues from this mayor and council about how we are being funded by the GNWT. We acknowledge under one of the motions further on that we appreciate the funding. But the minutes did not reflect the significant concerns that were expressed by several councils and mayor about this whole issue of the government underfunding community governments to provide essential services to the public. They're pushing stuff down the ladder, putting more and more responsibilities on communities, but they do not want to provide resources with those delegation or dismissal of their responsibilities that the communities feel obligated to pick it up. And it's been a shortfall for decades. And I just really wish our minutes had captured that thing, so if somebody's flipping through it, they could see that there was a significant discussion about that issue. And that it,
Sale, is there any response to them changing minutes at this stage? What do we normally do?
No, I mean, it is on the recorded, and the mayor was directed to request, she did write quite a scathing letter, actually. She did write a very, very strong letter that was out, so that it is online on the recorded minutes, and the letter has gone out to the minister, where she very clearly, I was able to obtain a little bit more background information on the variance and the percentages that we went up or didn't go up compared to what we were promised. And just as sort of a side note, we are engaged with the other tax-based communities in some discussions around sort of a united front on the administrative level of sort of finding out some more information about that one. So it hasn't been dropped, but no, the minutes, there's a fine line between really lengthy minutes or just capturing the elements, the essential elements. Now that they're online, it's sort of felt, and that conversation's been had back and forth a few times.
Councilor Courtette, does that help at all, or address your concerns?
Yeah, I know we've gone from, on the previous councils, our minutes were pages long. The notes were quite extensive. I don't know if I really see us going back to that, but I think when there is a significant discussion about an item, to just capture that there was that significant item or that significant discussion. I'm just thinking that people are looking at the package, and if they say, oh, there's a significant discussion, then they might be prompted to actually go and watch the YouTube video to see what the discussion was all about. Just a way to prompt people to try and engage them in the actual business that we're doing.
So, do you want to say yes, or no, that, or?
So I was just gonna say, note it, and I will try to find that happy medium.
Thank you. Councilor Cox?
Is it possible, I don't know what the right place would be, but to link the mayor's letter to either this briefing note or somewhere else in our minutes? Would that make it into town record?
I would have to look up into the legality of direct correspondence between our mayor to a minister. Whether that goes into public record. I'd have to look at that, I can't answer that.
Yeah, that could be another way to stack the pile against the argument.
I think it's up to our mayor's comfort level if she wants to post the letter that she wrote. That could be a question for our mayor.
Councilor Kurschak?
Just building on Councilor Courtette's comment, you know, well, you can't put everything down word for word in the minutes. It's supposed to be a concise summary, but it might be nice to actually include the link saying, you know, for to view the full comments, here's a YouTube link, and include that right in there. Whether you do that at the beginning of each of the 7 minutes or not, so at least it's always a prompt. Just kind of standard procedure.
All good. So no changes coming out of that. So we have this, blank on the world, what's that now?
All in favor?
All in favor, thank you. I just had a total brain gone. All in favor? Thank you. One of those days. So next, can I have a mover for the WWS contribution agreement with JWT?
Wasn't that just it?
No, that was the standing committee on April 1st.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'll move the council approve the town of Fort Smith entering into the 2025-2026 water and waste services contribution agreement with the government of the Northwest Territories in the amount of $798,000 and authorize the mayor and senior administrative officer to sign the agreement on behalf of the town.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Well, Councilor Coubret just did, thank you. Beach it. Any comments, concerns, observations, questions? Okay, you with? No, you're good? Wow. Councilor Kurschak, any questions?
No.
Okay.
I'm saving it for the.
Okay, you're saving your, keep your powder dry, as they say. No questions or concerns, all in favor? All in favor, passed. Can I get a mover for the Community Plan Infrastructure CPI contribution agreement? I'll do it.
Yeah. I move that council acknowledges and accept the 2025-2026 Community Public Infrastructure CPI contribution agreement with the government of the Northwest Territories in the amount of $1,833,000, and that the mayor and senior administrative officer be authorized to execute the agreement as required.
Second.
Thank you, Carl. Any observation, questions, concerns on this one? Going once? All in, I have a motion, all in favor? All in favor, passed. Thank you very much. Moving along. The 2025-76 Operations and Maintenance O&M Funding Agreement. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move that the council authorize the mayor and senior administrative officer to sign the 2025-2026 Operations and Maintenance O&M Contribution Agreement between the town of Fort Smith and the government of the Northwest Territories in the amount of $2,466,000.
Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Couillard, thank you. Again, any questions, observations, comments, concerns?
Just a
Councilor
comment.
Gierschak.
I recently attended our MLA's constituency meeting last week. I think it was last week. And one of the questions I asked him was, what were his thoughts on the final shakeout of MACA's funding formula, given all the stuff? And he seemed to think that our increase was way more than what we got. And so he said he was going to look into it, but basically, I said, I think we only went up $58,000 if memory serves me correctly.
On
the O&M. Yeah, on the O&M. And he says, no, he heard a much bigger number. So anyway, I did raise it at the constituency meeting, and maybe he will look into it. And if something comes of it, but I won't hold my breath. That's the only comment I wanted to make.
Is that a question or a comment?
It was a comment. That's a comment.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Any other questions, concerns, comments, issues with this one? None heard. I would say a motion to approve. All in favor, thank you. Can I have a mover for the 2025 mill rate bylaw?
I will move that bylaw 1061, the 2025 mill rate bylaw, be submitted for first and second reading at this regular council meeting of April 15th, 2025.
That's not how it's printed.
Oh, we can't, we need everybody here.
We need a full quorum, so we're gonna have to have a special meeting.
Well, just so you know, the recommendation did come from that committee, sorry.
Yeah.
The recommendation came from, this is the recommendation that came from the committee. What we actually do later, we actually officially read it in. It is different,
Okay.
but that is.
So should I say third or not?
I'm absolutely fine with that, but this is the motion that came out of that thing. I mean, it's.
And third, even though we can't do it.
Do I have a second for the properly read motion? Thank you, Carl.
I thought it was saving time, but.
I know you made a good color. Any questions, concerns, comments, observations on this one?
Other than we can't give a third reading.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I would say
Yes,
that,
right.
as I will bring up later on, unfortunately, because we don't have a full council here tonight, we cannot do the third reading.
Okay. So we don't need to modify this, but can you say all in favor with the as written?
Well, we still don't have the first and second. It's still the recommendation that was brought forward.
Okay. Any points of concern or discussion before I call for a vote? So, Carl?
If we're voting now, we're voting on the first and second reading?
We're not making
Yes,
the
it-
motions to read. We're submitting it for first, second, and third. When we get down to actually make the motions.
Oh,
this is
because
where
this
we
is,
will-
okay, yeah, this is the, yeah, okay.
So that's
I'm not still confused, but okay.
That makes more sense now, thank you. So, can I take, put up for a vote, all in favor? Looks like it's passed, okay. Letter to the GNWT minister, can I have a mover, please?
I'll move that the mayor be directed to write a letter to the Minister of Municipal and Community Affairs, MACA, the Government of the Northwest Territories, to express council's appreciation for the funding received and to respectfully request clarification regarding the discrepancy between the amount received and the amounts proposed during the MACA municipal consultations in 2024.
Can I have a seconder, please? Councilor Couillard, thank you. Again, any questions, comments, or concerns on this one? Councilor Couillard?
Just a comment, I've seen a copy of the letter, of the draft letter, since it's only still in draft form, and I think the mayor did an outstanding job of calling out the several facts about not only the changes in MACA's position from much earlier this year to when we received our agreements, but also the historic aspect of the shortfalls of the funding and really pushing the government to live up to their obligations and responsibilities to communities.
With that vote. You didn't have a pen on that, did you? No. Any other comments or questions, concerns from anyone? Have to pass this motion. All in favor? Raise a good remember. Okay, passed. Can I have a mover for the Community Services Standing Committee, April 8th?
I'll move that the minutes from the Community Services Standing Committee meeting on April 8th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
And a seconder?
I'll second.
I'll get you next time, Connie, I saw you there. Any concerns, questions, comments on these minutes? Why is everybody looking at my group? None heard, all in favor? Thank you very much. Unanimous. Can I have a move for the acceptance of the final organizational review report?
I move that council accept the final organizational review report prepared by Western Management Consultants as a strategic framework to guide ongoing organizational and governance improvements, and that administration be directed to use the report to inform future decisions related to budgeting, staffing, service delivery, and operational planning, with actions to be undertaken incrementally and within the limits of the available resources and internal capacity.
Thank you for that, man. That was a long one. Do I have a seconder?
Sure.
Connie, got you this time. Any concerns, observations, or questions on this particular motion? It was a nice long one. I thought we'd get at least one question. Okay, well, no comments served. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much for that. And now, can I move on to, can I get a mover for the Municipal Services Standing Committee, April 8th?
I'll move that the minutes from the Municipal Services Standing Committee meeting on April 8th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
A seconder, please. Sure. Thank you, Carl. Any questions, comments, observations on these minutes? Nothing heard. I'll say all in favor. Thank you very much, everyone. The next is a briefing note for the award of the Water and Sewer Systems Assessment and Strategic Planning. I have a mover for that, please. Thank you.
I move that council authorize administration to award the contract of the Water and Sewer Systems Assessment and Strategic Planning Project, RFP number TFS 2025-03 to AECOM in the amount of $85,864, excluding disbursements and travel.
Do we have a seconder for that motion? Thank you, Carl. Again, any questions, comments, observations on that motion? Looking around, none heard. All in favor of the motion as presented? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion on the in-camera session? Carl?
I'll move that council move in camera in accordance with the Cities, Towns, and Villages Act, section 23(3)(e), in a matter still under consideration, and on which council has not yet publicly announced the decision. If public discussion in public would likely prejudice the municipal corporation's ability to carry out its activities or negotiations.
I'll second.
Can you read that last thing there, in camera?
In camera, it's at 5 p.m.
This is all there. Thank you very much, Len. So this is just proving that we went into the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or concerns, comments on this particular motion? No? Can I have all in favor vote? Thank you very much, everyone. And I can have a mover for the next motion on coming out of camera.
I'll move the council move out of camera at 9:03 p.m.
Seconded by?
I'll second.
Thank you. Stuck in camera. Any comments, questions, concerns about that motion? There would be. All in favor? Thank you very much. So we're we'll move on to section on bylaws and policies. Can I have a mover for the mill rate bylaw? Do we need to change this or first reading? Let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe when we put that additional item should have been sooner. But when we get there, we'll just repeat it, yes, and we'll say why we can't read it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah. So do I have a mover for this?
I'll move the council accept the 2025 mill rate bylaw as presented and recommended by the Corporate Services Standing Committee for its first reading.
Seconded by Councillor Bates. Any comments, questions, concerns? None heard. All in favor of the motion as presented? Thank you very much. Can I have a mover for the next motion, please? Second reading.
I move that council accept the 2025 mill rate bylaw as presented and recommended by the Corporate Services Standing Committee for its second reading.
I'll second it. Again, any questions, comments, concerns on this motion? No hands, none being heard. All in favor of the motion presented? Thank you very much. And now I'm going to look to the SAO just on a procedural question here. We know what's going, we can't proceed with this one. Do we defeat it or do we just not present it?
You still read it in, because
Still
it's in
read
the
it.
minutes, it's in
Okay.
the agenda.
Okay, then we will read it in. Can I have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Carl.
I'll move the council accept the 2025 mill rate bylaw as presented and recommended by the Corporate Services Standing Committee meeting for its third and final reading.
Can I have a seconder, please?
No second.
Thank you. I think there will be some discussion on this one. So I'll call for questions, concerns, and discussion. SAO?
As stated during the original meeting where this recommendation came forth, we would require all of council be present and agree before we give 3 readings at one meeting. Unfortunately, Councillor Heaton is not available, or was not available to attend tonight, so we cannot, according to the CTV Act, or our mayor is not present as well. So according to the CTV Act, we cannot proceed with the third and final reading. Under administration, I'll ask for a special meeting so we can proceed with that, but at this point, we cannot by law pass this.
So I still call for,
Yeah, it has to be defeated.
okay, all in favor of this motion as presented?
We have voted?
Not this one.
Oh, well, I thought, what do you want, what she said?
No, on the motion as presented, which is the third reading, which we cannot do. So you withdraw your support?
Yeah.
So if we have no support, that is defeated then, right? I don't have to call for anything else. So it's defeated. We will set up the meeting later. We'll move on to the next section, C, appointments. There's nothing written there, so I assume that's, am I missing anything?
Actually, I think that's where, no, the briefing note should have been.
Before.
Yeah, the briefing note should have been there. We're just a little messed up in our placement today.
But we're good, then we can proceed. Go to administration.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go to section D, administration. We have a briefing note for the appointment of an acting senior administration officer. Can I get a mover?
I move
Thank you.
the council by motion appoint Andrew Grenier, Director of Municipal Services, as acting SAO for the period of April 22nd to the 28th, 2025.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Al. Again, any comments, questions, discussion, SAO?
Just if whoever didn't get a chance to read through the briefing note, myself and Director of Protective Services Adam McNabb were attending the wildfire prevention, or no, what's the word when you're getting ready for something? Preparation, thank you. The wildfire preparation workshop in Yellowknife that week during that period. As well, there will also be cross-training going on for some of our fire team who will be attending, so it's a fairly high-impact few days in Yellowknife. And our Director of Community Services is out of town as well. So that's why we've moved down the line from our typical standing acting SAO and moved down the line.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? None heard, I'll ask, all approve. All in favor of the motion? Good, everybody. Is the special meeting request coming up next year a motion is required?
Yes, yes.
Okay, can I have a mover for a special meeting request?
Can I give you the wording, or do you know it?
Well, I'm not gonna make it, it's whoever's gonna make the motion, so. Special meeting request, April 29th at 6:30 PM is what I have.
Can I speak
Yeah,
to it?
yeah, please.
I would like to request that council, that we have a special meeting on April 29th at 6:30 in order for two reasons. One, to give the third reading to the mill rate, the 2025 mill rate, and two, to have a presentation by the auditor on our draft audited 2024 statements.
Can we make a motion, or does that have to come from somebody else?
It has to come to us, I'm just telling you what you have to state the purpose. It's a special meeting for those two purposes.
Okay, do I have a mover for that? Councilor Couvret, seconder?
No, well, I'll wait till then.
Yeah, why don't you seconder on that, Mike Couvret?
I'll second.
I move
Thank you, Al.
that Mayor and Council call for a special meeting on April 29th, 2025. The two agenda items will be third reading of the mill rate, the 2025 mill rate, and item 2 will be a review of the 2024 financial audited financial statements.
You still stand by your second there?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments? Councilor Fairshare?
I guess it's for the SAO, and maybe I'm getting confused between organizations. But can a special meeting have more than one item of business?
It can, they just have to be stated, you can't have anything but those items on there. Can I just ask who the seconder was?
Al?
Is it supposed to you as well? Sorry.
Councilor Fairshare? Any other questions, comments, observations? None heard, all in favor of the motion? Oh, you have a question, Councilor?
No, just a minor amendment. I think I didn't state the time of the meeting at 6:30 PM.
No, I don't.
You have a chance to speak your mind right now. Okay, that's approved. Okay, so all in favor of the motion as presented with the time change, or time pick? Thank you very much. So now we're at the section called Mayor and Council Board Representatives. Ben, you're at the top, so would you like to be the first speaker, Councilor Tucky?
Yeah, I'm used to it.
I didn't know.
First of all, I'd like to pass my condolences on to, well, to many families here in Fort Smith who lost loved ones, and most recently, and yeah, heartfelt condolences to everyone. As far as my committees, with all my traveling and whatnot, I'm kind of out in left field right now. But as far as we're a friendly staff in HR particularly.
We have a strong candidate that we've actually made an offer on. Reference checks were very positive, and we're just waiting to see if there's an acceptance of that offer. And they were here visiting, and we sat them in your slot.
And I'm not sure if we had any meetings with NTPC.
All of it.
Okay. And other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilor Cox?
Thank you. Yeah, of course, condolences to any families. Yeah, the only thing Michael speak to NTPC stuff. Just, I think it's worth acknowledging the town. When I was on the way here, it's town staff hard at work sucking water out of ditches and parking lots, and I think it goes to show why we spend all the time and effort clearing snow out of the ditches leading up to this time for these days when it does rain and the water really happens. So I think kudos to them for keeping us out of the water.
Councilor Couvret?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To all the families out there, this was a really rough month for families, and we did lose some very notable people within our community. So I extend my condolences. The main Yes, item for my update is regarding the NTPC Intervention Committee. There's been a bit of it in the news, both CBC and Cabin Radio about the the Power Corporation's application for a general rate increase, which is currently going forward. They are asking for a 15% increase to rates across the territories. The town of Fort Smith is registered as an intervener in the rate application process, and we had Standalone Energy representing and doing the research on behalf of the town. I think he did an excellent job of bringing up many questions. Several of them still remain unanswered from the Power Corporation with regards to some of the cost increases that the Power Corp are trying to build into their this current application that we felt. Some of them are tied to the commissioning of the upgrade of the Tolson hydro facility. The town's position is that project, even to a public admission by the Power Corporation, is not completed yet. They have more work to do this summer, so we're saying that since this project hasn't been completed, and in their application they said they would not submit any rate increases as a result of the Tolson project until it was completed, that any increases that they're trying to build into this rate application be declined by the Public Utility Board, and they can be presented at the next general rate application at a future date. I was really surprised to read in the Cabin Radio article during the public consultation process of the general rate application. The town of Fort Smith was the only party to speak to the application, being opposed to it. I figured the impact that this is going to have on residents across the NWT, that there would have been a more vocal outcry and calls for the Public Utility Board to take an extreme look at it. This being compounded by all the communities saying during the NWTAC annual general meeting that the Power Corp needs to have an organizational and operational review to determine whether they are as efficient as they claim they are. We all have a very strong opinion opposed to that claim that they put out there, but so this would have been another chance for all the communities, especially Hay River, Yellowknife, and Newbig, to actually have their mayors or somebody within their elected governments to step forward and say, no, this isn't right. We want a power corporation, but it has to be one that is well managed, efficient, which the NWT Power Corporation is not. And if anybody wants, we will, I'll ask administration if they could post our public statement to our website for people to read if they care to.
Easy to do your part, fun, you got nothing, no, I'm kidding. Councilor Benoit.
I too would like to extend my condolences to all the people who are hurting from the loss of their loved ones. And the committee that I sit on hasn't had a meeting, so relevant to report.
Yes, I mean, just walking through Facebook, it all seemed like every second or third day there was a posting of another community member to pass, so some of my condolences as well. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a safe and healthy Easter weekend, which is up and coming. And then to give one last kick at the cat reminder that the federal election date is Monday, April 28th, but there are a number of opportunities to vote early. So please get out and vote, and very important that you participate in democracy. That's all I have to say.
Councillor Bates?
So the other councillors have already spoken to the committees and boards that I've been on, so I just wanted to also give my condolences, in particular to the Toronto family. Ryan was a special character, and he'll be missed.
Deputy Mayor Keeler. To follow up on Al's comments, I think the last website I checked for the Elections Canada, the early voting is this weekend coming at Roaring Rapids Hall.
Yeah.
Not at the rec center, so just put that out there. It was at Roaring Rapids, so that was a change that you should know about. And it is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right over Easter weekend, and you can do the advanced polls. So that's something to know, and like Al said, get out there and vote. The SAO and I held a quick meeting with the RCMP this last week, just an introduction to one of their senior investigators, and he gave us a good overview of some of the work they're doing in the community. And
I wrote up a whole briefing note for it, and I completely have no idea where it is. I think it's still on my computer.
there you go. Well, it's her fault. Anyways, no, but it was a good meeting. If they, at their request, they wanted to meet the mayor, and mayor wasn't available because she's on the road, so I came in and I invited Tracy to join us at SAO to hear what they wanted to talk to us about. It was basically about some of the initiatives they have and some of the things they're trying to implement. And the inspector, I remember his title now.
Remember his title?
Special investigator.
Special-
Special investigator.
Special
Investigator
investigator.
out of Yellow
For the
said he is
South
going to
Plain.
try and get down quarterly, and he will like to meet with council. So put that on your agendas at some point. We should be meeting with him. A very interesting fellow, and really trying to make a difference in our community. So that was an interesting meeting. We also had a casual meeting, an invite to meet with the NDP candidates in town. We did that down here. So that was just, he just put the invite out to, I think, again, the SAN are the only two that made that one as well.
You didn't make that one.
Oh, you didn't make that one? Okay. Oh, sorry, Al and I made that one, that's right. Councilor Giersberg and I made that one. Oh, yeah. Well, you're interchangeable, so. And as everyone has said, because it is right, my condolences to a lot of families in this community. It's been a rough month, and I think from the bottom of my heart that I hope you all can work through what you have to work through, and that your family will be remembered. So that's mine. Mayor Ferguson's not here, so that is the mayor and council board representatives. Councilor Courette, you had your 10 minutes of fame, but I'll give you a few more.
It was just under my notes here. I just wanted to express my appreciation to the town staff for the great work that they're doing for our community, and also to one person that we very seldom recognize is our SAO for the work that she does in leading our team.
Probably like to Martin Calvin. Thank you very much, Councilor Courette. Well done. So that be the councilor section. Any proclamations? None I see here. Absence of council members. I have a mover for 25-101, I guess it is.
I'll move that Councillor Tucky be excused from the special meeting of council on March 26th, 2025.
Second by.
Seconded.
Thank you, Al. Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Accepting Councillor Tucky's absence. Can I have a mover for 25-102?
I'll move that Councillor Heaton and Councillor Tucky be excused from the Community Services Standing Committee meeting on April 8th, 2025.
And a seconder, please. Thank you, Connie. Again, any questions, concerns? None heard, all in favor? Thank you very much. Can I have a mover for the next one that I did under here, 25-103, please?
I move that Councillor Heaton and Councillor Tucky be excused from the Municipal Services Standing Committee meeting on April 8th, 2025.
And a seconder, please. Thank you, Carl. No questions or concerns? All in favor? Again, thank you very much. And mover for 25-104.
I'll move that Councillor Heaton and Mayor Ferguson be excused from the regular meeting of council on April 15th, 2025.
Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Courette. And again, no questions or concerns, so all in favor? And carried. Thank you very much. The dates of next council meeting, I'll read off here. Protective Services Standing Committee, May 6, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Corporate Services Standing Committee, May 6, 2025, to follow the Protective Services meeting with a 5-minute break. Community Services Standing Committee, May 13th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Municipal Services Standing Committee, May 13th, 2025, to follow the Community Services meeting with a 5-minute break. And the regular meeting of council, May 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. So that will cover our meetings in the next month.
That's a special meeting.
And yes, thank you, Al, the special meeting we've added. So can I have a move to adjourn the meeting at
8:07.
8:07?
I move that we adjourn at 8:07.
And do I have a seconder? I'll second. There we go. Thank you, and all in favor? We're good.